welcome back to your feel-good breakfast show. Hopefully that giggle has put a bit of a giggle in your belly and you know that it's baby talk time, and we're joined once again by our expert guest pediatrician, Dr. Philip Kutsia, to chat to us about how we can protect our children, our babies more specifically, against the coronavirus disease that has, of course, been making world headlines. And I know that it's been a major concern for you as well, especially given the time where you are right now.
Well, exactly. Philip, always great to have you here. Thank you so much. I hope you feel the love on set. We love being able to plug into you as a resource, especially when it gets quite self-indulgent, because I've got a little one arriving 10 days' time.
Yes, that's
amidst
exciting.
this craziness.
Sure.
Really exciting times, and we couldn't be more excited, but a little bit terrified.
Yes.
Because this is all unprecedented. All we can go on is media reports, often sensationalized media reports, and at the moment we have heard now reports of 2 babies contracting the coronavirus.
Yes.
How worried do we have to be? What do we need to know? And what do I need to be preparing myself for bringing a baby into this space?
Yes. I think the basic principles still remain. So what we know so far, so frequent hand washing and social isolation. But what I need to say with regards to babies and kids in general is, and what we've seen so far, what we know, is that they have mostly only contracted mild or asymptomatic disease, so they don't get as sick as elderly people or people with other underlying chronic illnesses. So far, there have been no deaths in children due to coronavirus. South Africa, we have about, as far as the last I heard, was 6 cases, of which I think 4 or 5 were actually locally transmitted, so not travellers, but they were all managed as outpatients and have had mild disease.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, to protect your baby, the basic principles of hygiene, hand washing, and social isolation, trying to stay away from crowded places and shopping malls and everything that's been said by the president and said in the media remains of utmost importance. For mothers who are breastfeeding, I think continuing to breastfeed is going to be very important to boost your baby's immune system, because we know babies have immature immune systems, and breast milk is the best way to boost the baby's immune system.
That jump-starts the immune system. Yeah.
Exactly, yes.
With that being said, a bit of a question left of field with the 3rd baby now being infected with coronavirus in the UK, and ongoing research trying to discover why it is that it is affecting younger people at far less of a rate. In your medical understanding, why might this be the case?
So the one hypothesis, so as I said, and as everyone says, and we know it's ongoing, we're learning. One hypothesis is that the molecule that is necessary for the virus to enter the cells in the body in babies is less developed. So the virus doesn't enter the cells as easily as it does in older people. So that's a hypothesis. I'm by no means an expert virologist.
Research is ongoing, just out of interest there. So if you do suspect that your baby is sick or they're showing some kind of symptoms, what is the first plan of action to take?
So at the moment, we still follow the NICD guidelines. So our case definition has remained the same. So if you have symptoms, so fever, upper respiratory, in a child now, fever, upper respiratory tract symptoms, sore throat, runny nose, cough, the normal things they say with coronavirus, specifically a dry cough. And together with that, you have either traveled in the last 14 days or you've been in contact with someone who has confirmed coronavirus, then we would consider you a possible a person under investigation. In that case, it's very important not just to go to your doctor's office or go to your emergency unit, but to phone ahead of time and tell them, this is what I have, these are the symptoms, and this is why I'm concerned. And they will then be able, telephonically, to be able to give you advice
the right course.
And the right course of action. And because we don't want to patient under investigation or a person under investigation just to come and sit in our waiting room, in our emergency units or in our doctor's offices, because we want to isolate them, and we will then see them in a separate space.
Yeah.
But we'll discuss that telephonically.
After having engaged it.
And it's also, I think people are underestimating, and this has been probably what's hitting maybe places like the UK hardest, the stress that it puts on the infrastructure that is there. We have limited amount of people, limited amount of face masks, and it's great for everyone running around with a face mask on, but that's not actually how it works. And in a hospital, every time they see a patient, face mask has to come off and a new one has to be put on. These are all finite resources that we really have to manage. And maybe this is a bit of a human question as much as a doctor's question. What do we then have to do if I started to exhibit symptoms, or worse, mom starts to exhibit symptoms, and especially in the case of a newborn?
Yes, so what we know so far is that the virus is not excreted in breast milk. So if a mother is coronavirus positive and is symptomatic, she can continue breastfeeding with a face mask and washing her hands. That is, of course, going to be something that she and her partner will have to talk about. Some mothers might opt to then isolate themselves from the baby for 14 days, continuing to express milk for that baby to still have the benefits of breast milk, but the baby can also continue breastfeeding, permitting she washes her hands regularly and wears a face mask during the breastfeeding.
Yeah. One of the big concerns with schools being closed down across the country is, what do parents do if daycare was their option of taking care of children while they go to work? And of course now the continuation of work in certain companies, but now you have children that used to be in daycare.
Yes, and now they're at home.
And they're at home. What do you suggest?
So, the big thing is our daycares have been closed.
Yeah.
And they have been closed for a month and will reopen, scheduled to reopen in the middle of April. So kids are at home. And our biggest concern when we think of that scenario, especially with parents who cannot afford to be at home or cannot, due to the line of work that they do, so someone like me, for example, who cannot be at home, and the child has to stay with someone else. What we use, our resource for most of us, is to use our grandparents. And unfortunately, that is scary because elderly people are more susceptible to the virus and more susceptible of contracting severe disease from the virus, requiring hospitalization and etc. So self-isolation, good hand hygiene, the basics still remain, but it is an ongoing problem. It's a dilemma. I don't have a nice answer for it.
Yeah, it is unfortunate. Perhaps maybe looking at the community around you, organizing in very, very small, controlled groups with other parents that might have a child, or of course, people that you trust.
I think that is what many people are doing.
Taking shifts, so to speak, and obviously speaking to your employer as well and making them understand that these are unprecedented times that require extraordinary action. Wow, yeah, this is where we are.
Still many questions. Thank you again so much, Doctor, for joining us to answer them. I know a very tricky space that we're working in because this is unprecedented, yes, and because so much research is still being done at the moment. We don't have any definitive answers, but we'll start asking more questions on the other side of this as we continue this discussion.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back. Normally, that beautiful little giggle would bring a smile to my face, but quite a hard topic in Baby Talk. Today, we are talking about the coronavirus, what risks our little ones, babies and children are under at this very dark time. Dr. Philip Coetzee, pediatrician, joins us, giving us a wealth of information. I know it's tricky waters to navigate because there is a lot of misinformation and obviously not a huge amount of research has been concluded. So thank you for kind of putting yourself out there like this. We know that there is no vaccination against the coronavirus, but presumably we should still be getting our babies vaccinated.
Please, that's very, very important. I think the most dreadful thing that could come of this coronavirus epidemic is that people don't take their children for vaccinations, their babies, especially in the first year of life. And we see a resurgence of polio and other dreaded diseases. So please continue to take your baby for routine vaccinations. Definitely.
And these are the routine vaccinations that we're talking about, but moving into winter and the flu and cold season. Should you be taking a flu shot right now?
I think that is incredibly important to take the flu vaccine this year, not only to protect yourself against the flu virus, but also to give you to sort of give you a bit of peace of mind that because in children we know that flu virus kills a lot more kids than coronavirus hasn't killed any kids. And yearly we see lots of deaths from the influenza virus. So where the coronavirus is very serious in terms of death rates in elderly and sickly people, and kids not so much so far. Influenza, however, every single winter we see a lot of deaths from influenza, so it still remains incredibly important to take your child from the age of 6 months upwards for the yearly flu vaccine.
Quick question that I have, though. In my understanding of how the flu vaccine works is that the vaccine itself infects you with a small amount of the virus that allows your body to build up an immune
Prompts that immune response. Yeah.
to it.
Inactivated virus, yes. So,
An inactivated virus.
The DNA of the virus.
Yes. Okay, so it won't by any means like lower your immunity for a second, thus giving a
weaken
potential
you,
weaken you for a moment.
No.
That's not how it works.
So you can definitely go ahead with confidence and go take the flu vaccine. Obviously, the flu vaccine this year does not include coronavirus. Hopefully next season
yes,
it will.
We'll have mapped that genome, is the flu vaccine included in your baby or your child's regular vaccine schedule, or is it a separate?
It's separate. It's a separate vaccine that we encourage, but it's not part of the routine or extended program for immunization in South Africa, except for certain vulnerable children or individuals. But we do encourage that all children go for the flu vaccine.
Let's talk about other things that parents and caregivers can do in order to strengthen your baby's immune system at this time.
Okay, so we've spoken about everything that the government says, and we've spoken about breastfeeding. So another thing that I think is very important, and probably the best way to boost your child's immune system, is by providing your child with a good quality diet.
Okay.
So enough fruits and vegetables for the vitamins and the antioxidants, enough meat and eggs for the protein, the fat-soluble vitamins, and especially for iron. Iron is very, very important in a child's immune system, and it's a very common thing that we see in toddlers. Iron deficiency is something that we often see in toddlers. Oh, it's a long discussion, but it's a very important thing that we need to prevent, because a good iron stores helps to boost your immune system. And then taking a supplement such as a zinc supplement, taking with some vitamin C or a multivitamin. Some evidence also that probiotics help to boost the immune system. But at the end of the day, the best way to boost your immune system is with good quality food and enough sleep.
And enough sleep.
Yeah.
Now,
Get that on.
another can of worms. Come on. So maybe we can round this off by just summating what you believe would be the best safety precautions, because parents do get nervous, and I can speak with absolute authority because I'm moving back into that space, and I've got a almost 3-year-old child and if I can get him to stop licking every surface that he, it's just one of those things that parents have to deal with. But what safety precautions should we be taking as parents of little ones?
Okay, so everything that we've spoken about so far continues. So we give them a good quality diet. We try and keep them out of crowded places for the time being. So shopping malls, movie theaters, restaurants, things like that. When we are anywhere outside of the house, we encourage hand washing. When we enter the house again, we encourage hand washing. And I think that should actually be part of your routine. And this just actually gives us an opportunity just to remember how important hand washing is. And then I think continuing with your normal life to a degree is also important. Continue, as I said now, with the vaccinations, taking your baby for the vaccines, that's very important. Taking your baby outside, going to the park, taking a walk with a dog or with a stroller or bicycle. Still not just being secluded in your house, but actually exiting your house, but trying to stay away from crowded places. And then trying to stay healthy.
As much as possible.
As much as possible with the self-isolation, etc.
What about supplies? Do you have any suggestions of supplies that one should have that you can stock up on?
Please don't go out there and empty the shelves. Please.
Considering other people as well, the fact that there are other babies to be taken care of, there are other babies that need food, and these supplies that we're about to talk about that are quite important to have during this time.
So the supplies process specifically for possible coronavirus infection in your baby would be the same as for any other viral upper respiratory tract infection.
Yeah.
So in the cupboard, to have something to spray into the nose, a saline nasal spray and a decongestant nasal spray, something to treat pain and fever, whether it's a syrup or a suppository.
We've heard that paracetamol is preferred. Stay away from ibuprofen.
Yes, we've heard that. So something to treat pain and fever, something to keep the nose open, and some honey-based cough syrup. If you have a sore cough.
Yeah.
But basically, it's all the basics that you probably have already, and you just need to make sure that if my child becomes sick or I become sick and I need to self-isolate for 14 days, would I have enough stock for 14 days?
Yeah.
You don't need to have enough stock for the next 2 years. Everything is going to expire and you're going to lose a lot of money because you will buy medication that is just going to sit on the shelf and could have actually helped someone else.
Well, that's it. Take a moment to think about others, not just thinking about yourself. And I think this whole exercise is just that. It's forcing us to move ourselves from the center of the universe and actually think about everyone, not just ourselves and our own kids.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kuti. And of course, I think most
Thank
importantly,
you.
that protocol to exercise, if you do suspect that you are infected or that your baby might be infected, don't just pick up and rush to the doctor's office or to the emergency room. Call in first so that the right kind of protocol can be exercised. You would be otherwise putting other people in danger and thus not stemming the spread of the disease. So please be careful out there and take care of yourself. Thank you, Dr. Kuti.
Thank you very much. Thank you.